We are live, YSM Kayfabe. I'm here with my man Dave, my man Tyler, and we're going to react
So
to Monday Night Raw. Uh, Dave, top to bottom, man. Let's start it off. How'd you
I
like the
mean,
episode?
it was all right. I mean, it was taped in Grand Rapids tonight because Triple
True.
H is given time off for the holidays. But I liked the Rollins Reed match. That was good. They set up the women's war game match and a lot of little other stuff. But it was a good show for being a taped episode.
I've got to agree with Dave. I actually enjoyed the show for what I was able to catch of it. As far as setting up the women's war games, a lot of this stuff we already knew because it was pre-taped. I'm excited for war games in general. It's always a favorite of mine, up there with the Royal Rumble as far as stuff that I'm ready to see yearly. Um, but overall, the show was great, top to bottom. I'm kind of interested to see where some of these stories are going with the show. Specifically trying to get the War Raiders back on track, New Day stuff. So top to bottom, show was pretty good tonight.
All right. So for me, it always seems like the women's war game match is always thrown together. Like there's no real storyline behind it. They just pick like the top girls and like, all right, you on this side, you on that side, match.
Yeah, I can agree with that. But they always kill it every year.
They do.
Every year, the women's is always better than the men's.
That is factual. I think it's because the women always have something to prove.
Right.
And they prove that they're on par with the men in those matches. They always over deliver every single time. I've never seen a bad women's war games match.
I also think too is that we never see the women doing all this wild stuff. So when you see like a car crash match like that, it's wild just to see women doing that type of stuff.
Yeah, especially in the mainstream with WWE,
Yeah,
it's very rare. I mean, in TNA, you would have like Gail Kim, Awesome Kong, just going out there going crazy. And it's like a culture shock for WWE fans because they don't get to see their women do that often because their matches are kind of limited. Even now with the advancements they have had, they're still kind of limited in what they can do. But when they are able to do it, they show out.
I'm gonna say this. When when is Bronson Reed gonna have a bad match?
dude, that dude's been putting on good matches since PWG, Evolve, his European stuff. His NXT stuff was really good. I loved his NXT North American Championship run. Dude is just so consistent. Always puts on good stuff. I'm so glad that he's at the top of the card now. It's so refreshing to see.
I never understood why they released him to begin with. I don't know if that was a whole Vince decision
That
thing or
that was
whatever,
the
but
pandemic. It was the
he should have
pandemic.
never been released. He's so good, and like you said, he's consistent, and he is getting better and better. And I think that little bit of time away going to New Japan and
Yeah,
Impact really helped him out. I mean, it might have done better for him to have that little bit of excursion, but the dude's just a beast, man. He is what they wanted Samoa Joe to be for them.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I always said that Bronson Reed is the Australian Samoa Joe,
yep.
and I'm like, the dude is just
I
money.
like that.
I mean, because he's a powerhouse. He moves quick. I mean, he's
Yeah,
he's similar to Joe in a lot of ways. I see a lot of Joe in him, and I can
and a
firmly
lot of
see
Jeff
that
Cobb
he was a
too, a
huge
little bit.
inspiration.
A
What
lot
was
of Jeff
that?
Cobb too. I mean, Jeff Cobb's the same age,
Yes,
same way,
yes.
and but Jeff Cobb's a little older. That was like, well, Bronson Reed, Jonah's not kind of young, so I'm so glad they signed him, and I'm so glad they got him back. The pandemic really killed all their momentum, all their guys that they had. So I'm so glad Triple H is bringing back the guys that he wanted.
Now let me ask you, gentlemen, this because I want your opinion. Just because me and a coworker were talking about this, and we were kind of indifferent to it. I'm leaning more towards it now, but how do you guys feel about Seth and Bronson being in the midst for War Games?
I think it's a little thrown together, but they gotta get put the big money players in there. Rollins is a star. He's one of their money makers, and Bronson's on his way up. So it kind of makes sense in that way. Not much for storyline wise, but it's better than putting in like a Lance Anawahi and a Hakulio in, and people really don't know who those two guys are.
True, true.
People want stars. This is one of their big ones. What do you
But I
think?
feel like you could have took time to build them and to throw. You've had time to plan this war games. I mean, you've been carefully curating this storyline since at minimum WrestleMania, and so you could have sprinkled them in. And I feel like with the Sammy, and I know he was a part of the original, but with the Sammy and the Seth, it is thrown together. But very predictable. We saw this coming. Everybody saw this coming. We
I
know
think I
Seth is going
disagree
to
with the Sammy
join.
thing because Sammy was part of the story. It makes total sense for him to be in it. It
Yeah,
comes like full circle. But I agree with the Seth stuff. But I would love to see. I've been saying this for like a few days now. I would love to see the Bloodline show up in Shield gear. That would be fucking awesome. And I think that would be so cool. It'd be a nice little tidbit.
But it's also a tip to the cap of what war games used to be. A lot of the older war games, if you go back and watch them, a lot of the teams were dressed up kind of similar. They had face paint or, Road Warrior stuff going on
Yeah,
or
yeah.
combat stuff.
Morrison,
Show
even
unity.
the Dangerous Alliance had all
Yes.
the guys. Paul Heyman had his guys. So it kind of
Such a
looked like
great
it
war
was back.
games. But
as
This
far
is
as
gonna be a fun match.
Bronson Reed as a worker, I started to see the shift in like him and Braun Strowman. I'm not even gonna lie. That was the best big man matches I have ever fucking seen in my life. And they had one after another, after another, after another, and they were phenomenal. And at that point, I could see the shift in booking and the shift in work with Bronson Reed. I'm really big on Matt psychology,
Yeah,
and he is very good at that. A lot of these dudes don't story tell. It's spot, spot, spot,
but
spot. No, like,
yeah.
and to Braun Strowman's credit, he wrestled that match with a torn groin.
oh
He's been in the
shit, yeah.
match out 8 months now, and I'm like, they were all over the arena. He was walking around, running. I'm like, what the hell? I knew he was hurt, but I didn't know it was a torn groin.
I
It was
mean,
wild, man. What a wild match.
he's just a freak of nature, man. Talking about Braun and Bronson. Well, basically everybody on the Raw roster with the name Braun. Let's just be honest. But but that's exactly when I saw the switch flip for him too. Was he finally got to show himself against somebody big, and he's big, but he's not. He's you have other people that are bigger than him.
Right.
So when he's working with Braun Strowman, who is bigger than him, and he dominates him, that shows me something. That's like me watching Taz throw around people back in ECW. He's small, but he has that power to him. And Bronson had that, but he didn't flip that switch until he got with Braun.
I feel like when it flipped the switch for me was when he did the tsunamis to Seth. I'm like, oh my god, they're going with him. And
Yep.
I never heard a reaction like that from Bronson Reed before. Because I remember when he came back and he was getting crickets out there every week. I'm like, they got to reintroduce this guy. It's going to take some time, but once they introduced him, he was on every week. The tsunami would get over, the finisher would get over, but when he come out, you could hear a pin drop, and it was like, okay. But then now everything's coming together for him, and I'm like, I'm so glad he's going to show out at War Games. If he does a tsunami off the top of, like, I guess because he can't do it on the War Games, but like he does something wild at War Games,
You
I'm
mean
Hey,
like the
Ricky.
Rikishi?
Yeah, like the Rikishi.
like the Rikishi, yeah. But there's a roof on the War Games,
No, no, not in the WWE ones. Keep that in mind. There's not a roof on those.
huh?
It's two steel cages, pretty much.
Oh my God, yeah. I would love to see him do a tsunami. off the top of the cage. You're right because of the AO Sky stuff.
Yep.
It's the trash can. Okay, yeah, yeah.
Then Ricochet doing
Wow.
that 30 insanity stuff that he did back in NXT back when he felt relevant.
Yeah. Well, this is a bigger stage.
Of course, way bigger.
Can we talk about Gunther and Priest a little bit? I mean,
Ye-
I I think
What
Bro,
they're
what's
doing
your
a tell
thought
a
on
good
it?
story of him being vulnerable, but I don't know how over it's getting over with the fans. What do you
uh,
think?
it's pointless, honestly. Like, first off, I am very, very high on Gunther. I think Gunther is one of the better workers in the WWE. Like, he doesn't have a bad match. I'm talking about ever. Like,
Yeah,
he,
NXT
even
UK
when you
stuff.
put him in there with somebody you think it's going to be lackluster, no, he's fucking exceptional for a man that size.
He's believable.
But, bro, Damian Priest is ass, man. Damian Priest promo work, he's a bag of butts. I'm not face. It's not even ass. He's a bag of butts. I, I'm I don't think he should be at the top of the card. It's time to elevate Braun Breaker. I know it's early. Give him that spot in the card, man. Because the
But
Damian
they
Priest shit is not believable.
they
Not
don't have any baby
believable.
faces.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I thought they should have pulled that switch or pulled that trigger when Jay beat Braun for the Intercontinental title, and they had that little teaser there the next week with him and Gunther. And I was like, Bronson's already getting babyface react or Braun's getting babyface reactions. Excuse me. Um, and he's a good foil for Gunther because you got the power versus the speed, and I thought that would be something we could work towards. Now, Braun may not win right away, but that's something that can build him up, get him ready for that world title. Because I do believe he is close to being there.
Well, when Braun was a baby face in NXT, he beat Gunther clean, 1, 2, 3,
Yep.
clean as a whistle. And I'm like, wow, they love this kid. And I think there's like confused about what they want to do with him, baby face heel wise. And but they don't have any baby faces at the top of the card on Raw, so I don't think Priest's promo work is as bad as Jameer says it is. I thought his promo last week was really solid, but like Gunther's so convincing, he's gonna make this work, and they're gonna have a good match, like you just said.
The
It's just gonna be a solid thing, another successful title defense, and
I
on to the
think I
next.
think that's the thing though with a lot of fans and why they're not so heavily invested in this is because they know it's a foregone conclusion that Gunther's
Right, right,
winning. It doesn't feel like Damien's going to win because he's not in that position to win,
right.
and everybody knows that. Not to say that Damien hasn't become a way better worker than what he was before.
He has gotten a
Um,
lot popular too.
yes.
Bag of butts.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't believe him when he talks. He be trying to be like the cool street guy. I don't believe it, yo. It is like a waste of fucking space.
Jameer, did you watch his documentary on Peacock?
No.
It's
Why the
solid.
fuck
It's
would I
really
do that?
it's good. If you watch that, you'll kind of understand. It's good.
It
No.
has a lot of ties to it. That's a very good point because when you watch those documentaries like that, you kind of get sucked into who the person is,
Yeah, it's a
and then that's
story.
why
His
you start to rally
story.
behind
I
them.
don't want to get stuck. No.
Low, look now,
I'm just
he'll
saying.
call Bad Bunny now.
Did you like the Bad Bunny match, right?
It was a solid match. I was more enamored with the fact that Bad Bunny is an artist and how good of a worker he is. But I'm just not and mind you, he looks the part. He
I have a
does. When you
question
look
for you.
at him, he looks like he be the guy.
Do you like him better as a heel, Priest?
I don't like him at all.
Wow.
Mm,
I just don't.
So
Yo, when I look at Braun Breaker, right? Braun Breaker is impressive. Like
oh yeah.
now the promo work, I feel like that's gonna come with time, but just when I just watch him some of the things that he can do and the psychology behind it. I just see him.
Fast.
Him.
They said today that he beat Lamar Jackson in a foot race. That is mind-boggling to
Is
me.
that real though?
I don't know, but that, like, you don't say that unless there's some, like, who says something like that?
I've never seen anybody as explosive as him. You know, Sean. I've never seen anybody explosive as Brian Breaker running those rooms. Never.
It's gonna be fun if he wrestles Goldberg at WrestleMania. That's gonna be a fun sprint.
No, it's not.
I mean, I hate Goldberg with a passion. If you look at my hoodie, I he is the worst wrestler I've ever seen at the top of the card ever. But if you're gonna put if he can put somebody over, I want him to put over Braun Breaker at WrestleMania.
Now, I gotta jump in and disagree with you on that. Have you ever seen Great Khali Russell?
Yeah,
But with that saying, I mean, I'm not the biggest Goldberg fan. What he did with Kevin Owens really turned me off, and I know that's management, but he could have said no to that and said, "Hey, this is a younger talent. I don't need this. Brock and me don't need this," and they didn't need it, and that held the Universal title hostage for a very long time. So
yeah,
that I kind of don't like, but I can see because Goldberg's the master of the spear.
yes,
Braun's starting to get that, and then you can pass that torch, let it be done, let Goldberg retire, because Braun is that new guy.
right. He's like the new
Yo,
Goldberg with
He
ring
I'm
is.
technology and selling.
I'm gonna say this, right? I don't, in my opinion, I'm not big on I'm not big on Goldberg and Brock in the sense of they never say no, right?
Yeah.
Guys like guys like Taker, guys like Edge, they kind of see the bigger picture
Well, you know
in
what?
the long run. To whereas though they've said no on a couple of different scenarios, like, no, that doesn't make sense. I don't want to, squash this guy's momentum. I don't need to end the streak. Whereas Bryan and Goldberg just be like, what's best for my character?
Yep.
Well, you know what? With this new Triple H era, it makes a lot of sense for him to, because they're gonna have they're teasing Goldberg, so Braun Breaker is just the guy. He's the guy that makes the most sense. He like his move set is very similar to Goldberg. He idolized him as a kid. He's a WCW kid. He understands, like, it just makes total sense.
I mean,
With
even his
Gunther,
tattoo that he has is in tribute to
yeah,
Goldberg.
like it's it's just like fits like a puzzle piece. But he needs to keep that momentum. He needs to just keep on winning. And
Yo,
they could do that thing like, listen, I'm unbeatable here. Who can beat me? And then Goldberg, big pop, big schmalaz, all that jazz. But I would love to see. I've been wanting to see Gunther versus Brock forever.
mm, my man Dan the Man says Goldberg is dope.
What you mean?
Go,
Goldberg injures wrestlers,
yes,
and
Here's
permanently.
I'm a big fan. I'm a big advocate of this is a sport where you don't hurt the guy. You make it believable, but it's fake. So don't hurt the guy. I know accidents happen, but it looks like he doesn't know what he's doing out there. He thinks
I
it's
think
real.
that comes down to the power plant. I blame that
Yeah,
fully on the power plant
I
and
agree, 100%.
WCW because they put a lot of people out there that were not ready for that.
Yep.
Like Big Show adapted to it well, just because he's a giant, he don't have to do much, and he got better as years went on.
But
But I mean,
he was garbage too in 1995.
yeah, and that's coming from power plant. The power plant was not great. I
Like
mean, you had what Glacier and
Kiwi.
stuff. So
Remember that dude Kiwi?
yeah.
Garbage.
Now he took
Listen,
a hell of a spear. Now that's probably my favorite spear. That and the Nunzio Royal
oh, the
Rumble spear.
Nunzio one, yeah. The Rumble '04 in Philly.
Yep, won by somebody. I can't remember who that is, but
Uh,
Yo, underrated
um,
match tonight.
but
Ron Breaker, uh, Sheamus.
oh, what? what a match! And they got the fans into it too on a taped show. Probably at the end of the night. Talk about I said about consistency. What about Sheamus? Sheamus is always consistent. Whenever you think he's like stale, he's he always puts on like a great match. Like, oh wow, he's still Sheamus. You know?
I'm going to tell you that I wasn't always the biggest Sheamus fan. Specifically, more so in that lull period when he won the WWE Championship, and
Right away.
yeah, and it was just kind of like, okay, you're new. I get they're trying to push you heavy, and then the Mohawk phase and whatever.
Oh yeah.
Once he got into the Brawling Brutes era, and he started he feels like he relaxed more
You
and
didn't like him in the
show that.
bar?
Go ahead.
Did you like him in the bar with Cesaro?
Yeah, I loved him in the bar.
Okay.
Him and Cesaro were great. I just feel like now he's more comfortable in himself and more confident in himself because you see the banger after banger after banger is real.
Yeah.
Because I haven't seen him put on a terrible match in a couple of years now.
That WrestleMania match with Drew and Gunther, man. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Match. Talk about
Johnny,
big
what
guys
up?
making work. Whew.
Man.
What about
Now
the New
what?
Day stuff, guys? Gotta talk about the New Day stuff. What do you think? 10-year anniversary, they break up?
Jamil,
They're
I'm
just
gonna let you answer that first.
they're just wasting time on the card, yo.
Yeah, they're lower card fonder.
I'm
There's
really,
something to
really
add to the
worried.
card.
Who do you
They're not.
consider mid card? Because I'm really worried about the mid card, not just matches, but storylines. It's like back in the day, I don't know if I was just a kid, but I felt like they invested more in the mid card storyline than what you see now. I feel
No,
like you just see
you're not
thrown
wrong.
shit just thrown together. It's just like, oh, it's Rey Mysterio versus a random person again. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
Although
then,
shout out to Ray and his family. I know Ray's dad passed away today.
yeah. I just found
oh, are
out
you
about that.
serious?
That's
Yes,
crazy.
yes, he just passed
Oh,
there.
yeah, man. I'm sorry. And then here I am. Damn, I feel
Crapping
bad.
on the guy.
Yo,
But I
I'm,
mean,
I'm
no, you're not wrong though. I mean, it's
No,
Ray
no.
versus somebody random.
Well,
I mean,
the Ray match tonight was kind of random too, with Chad
see.
Gable and Ivy Nile and Zelina. It's like, what? Where did that come from?
so
I
like it's the
feel like
episode of Superstars.
Well, I feel like everybody's just stuck in this mid card vortex of where they're not doing anything at all. Like you try to get some momentum, but they are not doing anything. Like I thought American Made would be something. They're just another team.
Yep.
Very disappointing. They need
And
baby. They don't have any baby faced mid card guys.
No.
Ron Breaker's a heel, and he's working Sheamus, which is a great match. But what else is there after that?
but what do you think about the Kaiser situation at the end?
That was weird too. Like it's gonna be a triple threat now. Like, is he a heel? Is he a babyface? You're attacking Breaker, who is probably one of your top heels, and I like Kaiser a lot. He reminds me a little bit of Regal, and it's just he just stuck like just threw him in there again. Like, oh yeah, let's just do him and Sheamus again. You know, like we've seen it.
Again, it's going back to that vicious cycle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think Brian
I,
Breaker they're going to turn him into an anti-hero.
and you guys are saying, oh, let's put Breaker at the top of the card. But what about who's going to fill that mid card spot? You know?
Good point. Good point. There's not a lot of people, not on the Raw side, that they need to do another draft, and I'm
Yeah.
sure they will with the Netflix stuff coming up.
Well, when Netflix comes back with 3 hours, I think that's when Triple H like replenishes the roster, puts some XT guys in there, and he's gonna use all his talent. It seems like like we don't see anybody because it's 2 hours. I remember for years I was complaining 3 hours is so long. Oh my god, this is torture. Watching that third hour Raw was like a chore, and Triple H this past year and a half, Raw is so entertaining as a 3 hour show because everything meant something, even like the New Day stuff. Like now with the 2 hour Raw, it's like Jamil said, it's just like it's just a story thrown on there. But with the 3 hours, they had time to develop it. but now we're at the end of it, so it's like, come on, hurry up, let's get to it, you know?
As far as the Wyatt Six go, do you think with the 3 hour show we're going to get more meat as far as that story goes? Pause.
I
Yeah,
uh I think with the Wyatt Six, it's something that they do need that third hour for,
yeah,
um, because you have all these characters you don't really know. You know their backstory, obviously, if you keep up, but you don't know why they're doing what they're doing. For the most part, it's all riddles at this point. Um, but for me, I think for them, you've got to get past it because for me, and this is no disrespect to Miz. I was a Miz fan growing up, but he is lower mid card.
yeah.
Like I'm sorry, in 2024 he is lower mid card. This feels like it's just dragging on for the sake of dragging on. I get why they're doing it because he's betrayed his friend, and that's kind of. I feel like the White Sits is supposed to be scary, but they're really doing good.
They're
So it's
they're good guys doing bad things to bad people
yes,
because of their past. Miz
yes,
was in a group with Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas, the B team,
yep,
and they bring that back, and it's like, dude, you've been an asshole for 10 years, 12, 15 years. It's time to get your comeuppance.
yep.
And you treated your like he Bo's big on treating your family good because I don't have a family anymore. My brother died. So treat your family good or I'm gonna treat you badly.
Might I say, I got chills watching that little promo from Bo tonight because he looks so much like Bray.
My
The
wife
Yeah.
hair in
said
his face, bro. The cadence he was talking with, man, just gives me chills talking
yeah,
about it
looked
right now.
exactly like him. Looked exactly like him. What do you think, Jamil?
I'm not even gonna lie to you. I was unfamiliar with Bo, but how I think they underestimated how over he would be after Bray passed. I think that
Yeah,
they were going to try to have them as a heel group, but that fucking pop when when they did that first vignette or promo, they knew that this is you only can put them against heels. You cannot put them against baby faces because they will drown out, they will ruin the baby face if you put them in the program with them. So
Well,
I definitely would like to see them in more matches. They got a bunch of good workers.
yeah. They
that's where
they
that third hour comes into play.
yeah, they it's not because of it's not their fault really. It's USA. They were up till October. And they're like, okay, we'll sign a 3 month contract with you. We'll give you $25 million for 3 months, but it's going to be 2 hours. And we're like, okay, that's cool, because, but, like, it's great. But like now, I'm thinking like, where's all the wrestlers at?
Yeah.
I haven't seen them in a few
Yeah,
weeks because there's only 2 hours. It's so weird to say because I hated the third hour for 6 years.
Yo, I got a
Because
guy
Vince
for you.
didn't know how to book at
When is
that time.
Dominic Mysterio going to get a push?
What'd you say?
I said, when is Dominic Mysterio going to get a push? I
Dude, he's on
understand
NXT.
that he's the most over consistently over him besides Roman Reigns in the last 3 years.
the problem is they already got their heel champions right now. He just doesn't fit into that role just yet. Now, once somebody loses their title, whether it be Gunther or Braun, I can definitely see him moving up into that and being this slimy heel kind of early 2000s Eddie. I know that's a comparison that's easy for a layup, but I mean, he
Yeah,
could be that slimy heel and have a run with the Intercontinental title or U.S. title if he moves over to SmackDown. He could do that, and he'd be great at it. He was good when he was North American champion.
yeah.
Um,
I think he needs more seasoning.
he does.
And like you said, like there's a lot of heel champs right now, but he's on every single week, and he's more featured more than Finn and JD. Like it's wild. Like
No.
dudes in matches more than Finn Balor is. Like that's wild to say. Like he's if you had him in fantasy, you'd have like consistent points from Dominic every week because he's on.
But
Like, you're guaranteed to
Yeah.
see Dominic on Raw.
he's the
Guaranteed,
receiver. He's the receiver that gets 4 catches.
right? But it's better than the guy that's on television.
Yeah. Yeah.
True.
My my thing with Dominic is it's the Rey Mysterio effect because and it's more personal because it is family. And that heat he got because he turned on Ray and all this other stuff, it's just it's spun out. He's a spitting image of Eddie now and people do get that feel for him and they just want to hate him because he's so easy to hate. And that's you can't that's not something you can manufacture. That's something that's real.
Dominic was getting hate when he was a babyface when he was
Oh,
tag champs with Dag.
well,
People were
you
like,
see,
dude,
that's
why does he get to jump up the Raw when all these guys in NXT are working their butt offs to get the Raw on SmackDown and he gets a free ride because he's Ray's kid.
tell me if
And
you think about this analogy with it. Don't mean to interrupt.
yeah,
But think about 1996 Chris Jericho in WCW versus 1998 Chris Jericho in WCW. You had the white meat, luchador style, lucha libre style wrestler who just was white meat babyface, or even The Rock, white
yeah,
meat babyface Rocky Maivia. Sometimes you need to have that heel side because people don't really like a super squeaky clean person. They
right.
want to see you have an edge to you.
That's the Stone Cold Steve Austin effect.
Yeah,
Stone Cold was was a heel forever, and people started cheering him because he was real. He was believable, and he even said, "Like I'm a heel. Why am I getting babyface pops?" Well, because people like you because you're not lying and you're telling the truth of who you are, and it worked, and it
yep,
made him a ton of money, saved the company really.
Yo,
In
absolutely.
1995, they were going to go out of business, and he pretty much saved the company when Austin 316 and all that. So people like guys that are relatable. You can connect to them. Like why does everyone like
Absolutely.
Brian Danielson? Because he looks like a guy that works works like a normal guy, and he does a good job. Why do people like that? Because he's real.
Yeah.
Like Dominic
yo,
Mysterio, him being a squeaky clean babyface, people didn't believe it. And when he
nah,
turned heel, it's like, oh man, now that's believable because it's
yo, I'm Dave. I'm gonna announce this, and I want y'all to do your homework. A little later on in the week, I'm gonna just do a live specifically for this. Did Stone Cold Steve Austin steal the Sandman's gimmick? And who was more over? Don't answer it
Mm.
now.
you want us to answer that
I want
now
you.
or
No, don't answer it now. I'm just going to
okay,
say later on in the week we're going to do a live specifically on that.
okay.
I think you need to not to throw this out there, but throw it out an idea of what ECW did that changed wrestling.
Big time. Ding ding.
I
That's
mean,
a
because you could go through a lot of things. You can go through the cruiserweights, starting in ECW. You can go through the technical wrestling from the Benoits and Guerreros and Malenkos and all those
triple
guys,
threat
and
three-way
how
dances.
all that stuff. And I can let y'all save that for
Yo,
the podcast, but think about how much that company did in that short
yo,
of time to innovate what we have
I
now.
like that, and we can do it. We can do it segmented in the sense of the game, the franchise, the
Yeah.
Sandman, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Then you actually talk about the Dean Malik. Like honestly, WCW it kind of played as the double A, triple A, and WWE being the major leagues
Yes.
because you
So
saw those guys transition from ECW to WCW and then to WWE.
and you had Eric rating ECW. That's a well-known story. Um, but Vince also helping Paul out and all that stuff that happened
Dude was on the
post.
payroll. He was on
Yeah,
the
he was on payroll.
So Vince was just saying, "Oh, I don't need this guy. You want to use him? Okay, yeah, I could use Brockus. Oh, can I use Two Cold Scorpio? Oh yeah." Like they were switching town in and out
Yo,
because Vince killed the
ECW
they
is such a beautiful. It's such a beautiful story and
Yeah.
beautiful
they
tragedy
buried
with
Too Cold
ECW.
Scorpio though, bro. Oh my god, Flash Funk, fucking
Uh,
awful.
Hey,
the
it was just an
'90s Brodus
example. That's
Clay.
all I'm saying.
The '90s Brodus
You like
Clay.
that deep cut, don't you?
Yo, but the fact that Too Cold Scorpio was a bad motherfucker, man.
Oh yeah.
Oh, he was awesome, dude, and it doesn't get the credit that he deserves for
Talk
his
about
innovation.
innovator. Oh my God.
Yo, I don't even want to touch on that because I feel like we could go
That's
2 hours just talking about them. Like my first time seeing Rey Mysterio. Like, do you remember when you fucking discovered it on Channel 48?
Yeah, I remember.
I was
I
a
was having like
wrestling junkie. I
flashbacks.
was like, yo, what the fuck is this?
I
Man,
knew a few of the wrestlers, but I was like, who is that guy? Oh my God, this guy. Oh my God, this is not what I'm used to. Because they have a Doink the Clown.
the original Doink was good. Everything after, no.
I know, but you know what I mean. Like gimmick wise, I had
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I was so used to the Repo Man and the Mountie, and then here I come and Sandman comes out with a kendo stick and drinking beer. I'm like, what the hell? And Sabu out of nowhere.
All right, my man Yanni, I got pitched for WrestleMania Logan Paul versus Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. It's a special for
Special rep Ben Shapiro.
oh my
Mr. B.
god.
Corey Gray's on commentary. Boy, you want people to turn off the show?
Oh my god.
I I
People,
like
people
Logan Paul
would,
a lot, but that uh, I don't even want to get
people
into.
would cancel their Peacock subscriptions just like they tried to cancel their WWE Network subscriptions at the
Yeah.
Royal Rumble 2015.
Oh, I was at that show.
Oh, you poor soul. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What Royal Rumble was that?
That was Rome.
Exclusive. When The Rock came,
Yes,
they got booed out of the building.
yeah,
Well, you know what? Everyone talks how bad that was, but that plants the seeds for Roman Rock at WrestleMania.
it
Hmm.
does.
Like
It
they
does.
didn't mean to do that, but we pretty much ran like Philadelphia is the reason why all this bloodline stuff's going on right now because we booed him so bad that like it got to him. You know what I
The
mean?
Rock's facial expression during that still kills
Oh
me.
yeah, it's
It's like, what?
like no one boos me ever. So it was just so fantastic.
Yo, it's weird to see like wrestling fans are funny because wrestling fans really did it to The Rock. They felt like Rocky Maivia is being pushed too hard. He wasn't what they wanted, and
Like his baby face.
then he like people think The Rock was a new character. The Rock isn't a fucking new character. It's Flex Kavana with a better name.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah.
Like if you go back and you look at the early promos, that was The Rock. And then you see, Roman, and then how the hated babyface just turns into the heel that just everybody just loves,
But
and then now he's just so fucking over.
But do you think that was Vince just trying to cipher that Hulk Hogan again with both him and Roman?
I think when Vince
Johnny, I
thinks
fucking
I
hate
need
that kid.
top
I
baby,
show speed. I hate him.
he tries to put a puzzle piece that doesn't fit and he jams it in until it does fit. Like that's what I think of when he does that. He's like, this guy makes me a lot of money. No matter what you say and how many times people boo him, Roman Reigns made Vince McMahon a lot of money as a top babyface because children loved him and they sold him a lot of merch and he just it's he pushed them so hard. Like if you turned them heel, all that money down the drain for children at that time when they weren't as edgy as they are now.
Yeah, I mean, because I gotta admit the 2010s 2015 era was kind of rough, all the way up until like 2020 or 2021, whatever it was. You had some bright spots in there with CM Punk and whatever, but for the most part, it's pretty bleak when you go back and watch.
Well, Cena's stuff was always solid, but like he's another one. Like he was a babyface that they pushed too hard, and but he made them a lot of money, so you have to push him.
Yeah.
Yo, can they stop calling this fucking dude the GOAT? It pisses me off so much. He's not the GOAT of fucking anything. He's not the best worker. He wasn't the best. He wasn't the most over. He didn't draw the biggest gates. Like, stop calling him the GOAT.
Now, who are you referencing here?
Cena?
Cena, man. I hate when they say that shit.
I think it's because of the longevity. Although I will
Yeah,
say, and yes, I have a personal bias. Randy Orton is way fucking better.
I agree. I
Like
feel
what?
More
like
depth to Randy Orton's character.
Yeah,
the head to
And
head
Randy
longevity.
got better in the ring too when he wanted, and when Randy wants to be good. Oh, he's one of the best out there.
Yeah, he's just so.
His psychology is A1, man.
Oh, that's
Randy's psychology in just wrestling, promos, everything is excellent.
And that's why I don't understand why he doesn't get that kind of love. I know
well,
it's
he's get it
because
now.
John made the most money,
He's
but
get
come
it
on now.
now.
He is now. But man,
But the reason why he didn't get that love back then is because he's always a heel at the time, and
yeah.
his attitude wasn't the best back in the
Yeah,
day.
he made that well known.
Yeah, he's a douche. He was a legendary douche at a young age. Like hair Randy.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Hair
Pe-
Randy.
people always want to talk about bald Randy and how much of a menace he is. You know the meme. But I tell people all the time, this man was RKOing 80-year-old ladies in '03. Come on now. He always been that way.
and banging all the ring rats to
You
boot.
know it.
Like he was
You know it.
just a fucking menace out there. Yo.
I guarantee you, every lady in that Evolution video that he was surrounded by got some.
Oh yeah, he definitely banged all of them.
Oh
Flair
yeah.
watched.
Shoot. Flair probably threw his meat on one of their shoulders. Oh my god, bro.
Yo, if we're gonna say GOAT, right? I'd look at it as one being over, two ring work, three promos. I would say, oh, but heel and babyface promos. You got to be able to do both.
You know what? Uh, it's the typical answer, but I'm going to say Ric Flair.
Yes.
Yeah.
Guy could work his ass off. He was a great babyface, great heel. His promos were top notch. He has the like longevity, like Tyler said. He also has the accolades: 16 world champ. I mean, I I always go like I was never a Flair guy because I always watched WWF. So I got the DVD. I just went on like a spree of watching Ric Flair matches. Oh my god, this guy is the greatest of all time. Holy crap! Why haven't I been watching NWA this whole time? Like, and that's like wild to me. And like, yeah, his older stuff wasn't as good. Like his 2000s stuff, Evolution stuff wasn't good. But
Hey, I gotta say though, that promo he had with Triple H, I think was he was losing his confidence and he
yeah,
said, you're gonna get the Nature Boy tonight and never fall for the world
oh,
title and
in
all that.
Greenville, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that was a good match.
So good. So good. And I actually wanted them to put the belt on him that night. I was like, I'm ready for a 17th at
Yeah,
that point.
yeah, it would have made sense too.
Yeah.
Yo,
Um
if
who's somebody else you guys would pick?
For
it's all right.
greatest of all
So
time,
I feel like it's three guys that fit that category. It'd be Steve, Sean, and Rick.
That's fair.
Steve,
That's fair.
People, wait. Before Steve broke his neck,
I know. I'm just about
Steve
to say,
was a technician, yo.
dude,
Bro,
his matches with Steamboat.
I was
Oh
just
my
about to
God.
say that. Just go back and watch both those matches with
Like,
Ricky Steamboat. They are
like
god tier stuff.
he was a good worker, and he completely changed his style, and he became one of the best brawlers of all time too.
Yes.
Dude sold tickets like crazy. Like, and
And
all
again,
his
he was
promos are really
believable.
good. What'd you say?
He was believable.
Yeah, like
As
just
a
like what
as
I
a
was saying earlier.
technician, he was believable because he was up there with William Regal as far as technician stuff. If
Yeah.
you go back and watch it, he's great. And people only see that brawler side of him. I'm like, look, my first WWF pay per view that I ever watched was Royal Rumble '99, where Vince won. But
Yeah.
Austin was my guy. Austin was my guy, and he always has been. I even went to a bar in Dallas for WrestleMania 38, whatever it was, and he was doing his Broken Skull IPA, and getting to be in the bar with him while he was doing that was one of the highlights of my life. So that's how much he means to me. But I was always Stone Cold. But as I've gotten older, I appreciate a lot of the Stunning Steve stuff.
Well,
I mean,
his Hollywood Blonde stuff,
Absolutely.
like that match with Steamboat and Shane Douglas,
Yep.
Steel
Cage
Cage
match.
match,
Is that right? Yep.
on his DVD. It's so good.
Stunning Steve.
I would have loved to seen him in ECW a little bit more because he couldn't work at that point because he was injured or whatever. I would have loved to seen him like go up against Sandman, that like 101, and have like a proper feud with a proper story because like that was the prelude to what we would see later on.
I
You know what I
think I
mean?
think he should have beat Mikey Whipwreck for the belt and at least just held it for a little bit and just got his promo skills sharpened up. I mean, he got to where he needed to be, but just that little bit and being an ECW champion, that would have been so cool.
So you say about Shawn, right? I love Shawn Michaels,
Don't
but I'm
you
a
do
Bret
it.
guy. I'm a Bret guy,
Uh
Don't you fucking do it.
oh.
Don't you fucking do it.
and I asked this question to a bunch of my buddies the other day. I said, "What run is better with Shawn Michaels? Was it the run from when he was a tag guy with the Rockers all the way up till he broke his back against Taker to Mania 14, or was the second run in '02 from when he retired against Taker? What run was better, his first run or second run?"
See, that's all right. So that's hard because people consider Austin the attitude era guy. That's bullshit though. Shawn Michaels is the father of the attitude era. He just didn't get a chance to enjoy it because of the back. Everything that the attitude era was, he was doing pre-attitude era. Vince
Even
just decided to take the ball and run with it.
that whole thing with Shawn and Brett and Vince and all that, that was the match that struck the fire that we knew what the Attitude Era was.
If you go back and watch, and I know if you guys listen to Conrad Thompson, he says 1997 is his favorite year of wrestling. I went back and watched it. The first half of '97, not so great, but once you're starting to get in June, July '97, that's where everything starts picking up. Austin's starting to get more popular. Shawn's having conversations with Brett, and then it's the Undertaker thing, and just all that. The Nation of Domination is starting to get hotter. There's so much in '97 that really is a catalyst for that, where it doesn't become official until the end of '97, but they all played their part to get where it was. '97 is very, very pivotal in the company's growth.
The reason why I said that Shawn is the father of it is he was on record pushing Vince to be more edgier
Yeah,
in the back room.
Yep.
And
yeah,
you
I
you,
agree.
you got to change. Like a whole lot of people ended up benefiting from it
Well,
down the road.
I think you know about the sock situation or the golf
Yeah,
situation,
Vince wasn't there.
and Vince said, "Now that's attitude," and that's kind of what spawned it.
What Shawn did back in the day too, he was an ass, but him and Hunter and Diesel and Razor, they made a list of the entire roster. It's like, okay, this is who I like. This is who we don't like. Get rid of all these guys. And probably half the guys on the list that they liked, they probably kept. And the guys that they didn't like, they probably got rid of, and that was the attitude era. The 1995 roster for the WWF, 95 was probably the worst fiscal year of all time for them. But if you look at that roster, what they had, that is a Hall of Fame roster. That's the attitude era. Shawn, Brett, Taker, Austin, Triple H. Kane was Isaac Yankem. Bradshaw was there.
No,
It's insane.
Yeah.
they had their growth. I've got to say, based off of what Jamil was saying about the specific category that we're talking about, I have to disqualify Brett.
Oh, because he didn't draw.
Not just that,
His
but
promos weren't the greatest either.
yeah, that plays a lot into it. And I don't think it was a drawing issue because both companies were down in '95. I think that's just the wrestling business just wasn't where it needed to be, and they were going through everything was changing. You know, you're coming out of the Hulkamania era, and then
Yeah.
the disaster that was in WCW until he got into the NWO. I don't blame that on Brett, and I don't blame it on Diesel either. Like, yeah, Diesel was champion at the worst time, but that's not his
Right.
fault, you
Right.
know. And I like Kevin Nash. I liked some of his matches from that time. Him and Brett at Survivor Series is
Yeah.
one of
Great fucking match, yo.
an amazing match.
It
But
wasn't a carry job either. Brett didn't carry him in that match.
no, he
Diesel
carried his
put his
own. He
workload
carried his
into
own
that
against
match
Shawn
too.
too.
Huh?
He carried his own against Shawn too.
Yeah.
You know that good friends, better enemies
Oh
match
yeah.
in '96 was so great.
Dude, I,
You're gonna make me want to watch some stuff now.
I'm
yeah.
telling you.
We got 8 minutes left. I'm gonna ask y'all a question, and we'll break this up. If Vince listens to Sean and Diesel doesn't power out of the super kick, the pin, how different does wrestling look? Go.
Mm,
Whoever's the first person that wants to take that, go.
I'm gonna think about that.
I mean,
Because that's what caused Sean to be turned into a babyface. Because fans rejected him. What did he power out after one, right?
Yes, yes. That
yeah.
was
And
WrestleMania 11, right?
yeah, and
Yeah,
fucking they argued
worst
with Vince.
Mania.
They told him not to, and he did it anyway to make Diesel look strong.
The thing is,
I,
Sean would have been Sean with the DX stuff anyway. After that, Nash
well,
would
I
have went
think
to
Yeah, but
WCW.
he wouldn't have had the babyface run.
yeah, you
The
have
boy of
to
dreams.
you
They would
have
have
to
pushed him
have.
babyface anyway. He
He was getting
there's
too
no
popular
way.
to stay heel. I can see that. Um, I just think they went better about it that way because now Sean did business and made Diesel a star.
Mm.
That's what he did with that.
You know
And
what
sure,
though?
it didn't work out perfectly, but I think Diesel was already getting there.
He was Vince was pushing him to the moon in '94.
Yeah.
Diesel would have been a star when he'd been backling in like 8 seconds at the Garden. That's when
Yep.
Diesel became a star.
Yep.
Period. And what you're saying is, why if Sean didn't kick out, they would have turned him babyface anyway. And he didn't get hot. The Attitude Era thing didn't get hot. He was a heel with DX. They weren't
Yep.
baby faces.
Yo,
So it would have all
everybody,
worked out in the end.
everybody likes you know, the incarnation with the New Age Outlaws. I love the original DX though; they were hilarious.
Yeah. I with Rick Rude and him just being quiet and China being menacing. Like I remember the specific episode with the Christmas episode of Raw.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Then that that was like peak 1997 for me. Like oh my god, they're going
Them
like
running
they're
for the
running with it
European
now.
Championship, running the ropes, being goofy, and
Yeah.
I felt bad for Bulldog though, man. When I heard that they changed that finish and after he dedicated that match to his sister who had cancer, I was like, y'all some dicks for that.
Yeah.
I know I
Sure.
You
got
think Bulldog should have been a
it
world
got
champ?
heat, but whew,
You think Bulldog should have been a world champ?
That
95,
was supposed to
yes.
be European champ.
Bulldog was European champ.
Yeah,
No,
because he beat Bulldog for the European title
Yeah,
in England,
he,
right.
but he had dedicated that match to his sister who had cancer.
You know what? Heel heat, man. Heel
Yep,
heat.
that's what it was. I was like, you are a dick for that, but I understand it.
yo, does anybody see similarities in how they're trying to book Liv and Raquel with Sean and Diesel?
100%.
Oh, absolutely. That is 100% what that is.
Yeah. If you're not thinking that, then you shouldn't be watching wrestling.
Like when I seen
Every,
her with the glasses, I'm like, yo, I've seen this shit before.
yep,
yeah.
everything's recycled. I mean, that's all it is, man.
If you've seen it once, you're gonna see it again, unless it's like Glacier or something like
Oh yeah, let's not go down that
Oh
route.
my god,
that.
you didn't
Blood
have to
runs
bring that
cold.
up. You
So
didn't have to
you
bring
guys
that
didn't
up.
answer my question. Which run was better, Sean's first or Sean's second?
Jamil, I'm gonna let you answer that first.
I'm partial to the first run because I was a child, and yeah, I'm gonna say the first run.
I'm gonna tell you that the second run is for me, and I'm not the biggest Sean guy, but
I don't even
the
know how to fucking say that with a
but
straight
no,
face.
and I'm not a big Brett guy either. Put that out there. But the caliber of matches that Sean put on post back injury, it's amazing that he even was doing what he was doing
His
because of the back injury.
his first match back with Triple H in '02 SummerSlam was probably one of his best matches.
And
I put it on the top 10 list.
the most insane part is he only won the world title once
Yeah,
in that entire second run.
Mm.
Once.
and it was the secondary world title.
Yes, it was the secondary world title, and it was right when he came back.
With it wearing those jeans, awful, awful.
Yeah. What I liked
Not
about
worse than them brown tights.
oh
I
no,
mean,
them brown tights were
those brown
shit.
tights were garbage. Even Hunter said something about it. He was like, "What the hell are you wearing?"
So terrible.
Love it, man. But yeah, that second run, I gotta say, it's probably his best run. I mean, when you think
Match
about
with
it,
Taker.
because of his growth and maturity as a worker, the stuff with Vader that he did, and just being the complete douchebag. Once he got better, and apparently he still was a douchebag backstage. He just wasn't that in the ring, from stories I've heard. But you go back and look at those matches. Look at the match with Shelton Benjamin in the Gold Rush
Yeah.
tournament. Look at the Triple H match at Armageddon
What
and
about his match with
SummerSlam.
Cena in United Kingdom?
That whole run with him and Triple H all the way up to like Bad Blood '04 or something like
Yeah,
that was great.
great stuff.
Him and Undertaker, of course.
What about his stuff with Cena in UK?
Yes,
Oh my
I
God.
I was
Yo,
the advocate for him beating Cena at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
he,
And
he
then
was a
that would have
dude
been.
the second run, but he was putting a lot of people over, man.
Hey, well, that's what you gotta do as a vet.
Yeah, he had his time. He knew it, and I commend him for that. But I'm not going to say I wouldn't have liked to seen him win the world title again right before he retired or something like that. That
He's a
'08,
player for him.
'09 era, right when he was going for Undertaker, I felt like if he would have wrestled Taker for the belt and had been like street versus career and street title career, whatever, just add that little extra sprinkle on there. I think it would have been something crazy if he would have won. But ultimately, for me, Sean's second time was better than his first for me because it feels like he enjoyed it more. He wasn't high strung, obviously not on drugs or anything like that, but he felt like he enjoyed what he was doing.
All right, Dave. We got like 2 minutes left. You gotta take it home. Which run was the best run?
Uh, I love this stuff in early in '96 with Mankind. That was awesome. But I can't really pinpoint matches that were like as good as his matches against Taker and against Hunter and against Cena and his match with Shelton and he had a really good one with
Ladder
Flair.
match,
Really good one.
Razor.
Huh?
Ladder match, Razor. Any match with him and Owen Hart.
His match, his second one with Razor was better than his first. But you can't put
Facts.
that against his match at WrestleMania 25 against Undertaker's the greatest WrestleMania match of all time.
True.
So
The Iron Man match with Brett's underrated.
a lot of people say it's overrated.
No, it's not, man.
I mean, I'm not saying it, but I've heard people say it's overrated.
Those people
I
have to
don't.
fight me.
I would say the second run's better. His in ring work was better in his second run. His character promo work was better in his first run.
I'm
Even though
gonna,
he
I'm
had
gonna
good
tell
matches too.
you. I'm gonna tell you my favorite first run Shawn match, and that's him versus Jeff Jarrett and In Your House for the Intercontinental title. That
What are you
is
talking about?
so great,
That is a
so
good one.
great.
That's talk about a deep cut. That's I love this Mankind match at Mind Games
Yeah,
Oh,
like
my game, so good. That put Mankind on the map
on
for
the
me
map.
too,
that was in Philly. I was at that match.
Yeah, that's awesome. What
because that's
another
when
match?
ECW was in the front row. You had Sandman, Dreamer, and them in the front row.
Yeah, yeah.
Mabel's big ass, whatever.
Hey, fellas, we hit that hour. I want to thank y'all for joining me. I definitely would love to have y'all back. Um,
Likewise, thank you so much for
Yeah,
having me
man.
on.
I always love
yeah,
talking wrestling.
yeah, bro. We're definitely nerds. And I'm cool with it now. I'm comfortable in this space, man. I like to see guys pretend to beat other guys at wrestling.
Look now,
Wrestling is
we
a
used
gift.
to get hazed for it back in school, but buddy,
Right.
I
But
ain't scared.
yo, I really appreciate y'all, Tyler, my man Dave. Um, love to have y'all back. I'll be getting in touch with y'all, so maybe we can get like a schedule going.
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah. Even
absolutely, man, I'd
for the
love to. And
ECW
next time
episode
I'll
would be
actually be on video.
So,
good.
all right. For anybody watching, thanks for joining us, man. Signing off, man.